And welcome back to America Talks Live. I'm Bill Tucker filling in for Steve today. He has the day off. Joining me now, Carl Higbie, retired U.S. Navy SEAL, spokesman for Great America PAC, and author of Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, A SEAL's Story. Carl?
No longer the spokesman for Great America PAC. After the election, it's dissolved.
What?
I can say whatever I want.
You win? You're free to say whatever you want to say. Then that's good, because let's start with my favorite fun topic of the day. Reince Priebus is named Chief of Staff, and in the same breath, Steve Bannon stays as the senior special advisor, and we're told that they have equal roles. Yep. Man, I'd pay money to be the invisible man sitting in the Oval Office when the two of those guys are in there. Why did he go with Reince and keep Steve?
Well, you need, look, a guy like Steve Bannon is well-versed. I mean, he's a very high-profile political operative. He wrote Clinton Cash. He's done a number of other things. He ran Breitbart. This guy is really intelligent, but he's also pushing the very agenda that Trump got elected on. Yeah. So you need that strong backbone, but he's also the guy who can say, hey, Donald Trump, you're wrong. So he needs that. Now, Reince Priebus is your establishment guy. He's the guy who knows the ins and outs, can work with people. I mean, the chief of staff, he's the one who's really going to be getting things in and out of anything that goes in or out of the Oval Office, got to go through Reince.
I agree there's certain pragmatism there, and I can see that. But I wonder if a lot of the people who really believe we should drain the swamp are a little bit worried he didn't drain it quite enough.
Keep in mind, Steve Bannon is still there.
So, and I know he's been known to throw a few hand grenades in his lifetime.
And he's a much stronger influence, I think, than Reince Priebus is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Speaking of amazing, we've been talking about Trump in his interview on 60 Minutes last night.
Wait, who?
Donald Trump, the president-elect. You know him?
Oh, I heard about him.
You heard about him, right? He helped get him elected, folks. I thought Stahl did all in all basically a fine interview. I was intrigued though when she had the family there, and she asked the family about how this had changed her father, and I want to take a listen to her response.
I think it's impossible to go through this journey and not change for the better. You meet, and in my father's case, literally millions of Americans, and they speak to you with a candor about their struggles, their challenges. They share with you their most intimate stories. So you connect with people in a different way, and you grow.
I get actually kind of choked up about that, because for years I did a lot of stories for a lot of people who felt like they were totally disenfranchised, totally disconnected. And I think those were the people that voted for him. I think those were the people who were saying, I'm not invisible anymore, are the guys who voted for him. You were on the road quite a bit. Did you have that kind of experience?
Yes, and what I see too is the people we talk to, they all have the perception and the image, which is the right perception, the right image, which Donald Trump believes that he has now been elected to be the people's highest servant. He doesn't believe that, oh, I'm the man now, like the current administration. He believes that the people elected him and asked him, they basically said, hey, Mr. Trump, will you please represent us? And he's taken that, I mean, he's taken it very hard. He said, like, look, I am now the public servant, you know, the highest public servant America has, and he's very appreciative of the American people.
Well, he told Leslie Stahl, I don't even know what the job pays, but I don't want the money.
Right.
I'll take $1. I think I have to take some money.
Yeah.
So I'll take $1. Yeah. So we just got a president for $4.
There's a start.
It's a beginning.
Yeah.
I want to play his answer. It's soundbite number 7. I'm going to jump over one and go to soundbite number 7, because this, I think, it told me what he's about.
Let me ask whether any of you think that the campaign has hurt the Trump brand.
I don't think it matters. This is so much more important and more serious.
I think what Ivanka is trying to say, who cares? Who cares? This is big league stuff. This is our country. Our country is going bad. We're going to save our country. I don't care about hotel occupancy. It's peanuts compared to what we're doing.
I love this part of the interview, because that spoke right to me. I don't know what he does for you, but it put everything in perspective.
Right. And this even goes to show more that this is not about Donald Trump. Look, this guy's a billionaire. He could have lived his life on a beach, but he chose to throw himself in the public spotlight for 16 months and just get beat up by every single person, and then still beat him. And now he's here, and he's like, I don't care about my multi-billion-dollar business. I care about America.
Yeah, it was some passion that's been missing for a long, long time. Yeah. America matters. Everybody in America matters. Every American citizen matters.
This is the first guy ever, though, that has a decrease in lifestyle because of moving into the White House.
I know. So. You know, he's also the first citizen president.
Yeah.
He's the first president who hasn't been basically a career politician or a general in the military that has taken over the office.
First one with a woman campaign manager, too.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see how his cabinet shapes up as we move along in this whole process. It's also going to be interesting to see how his policy is affected. I said this a little earlier in the show. For me, Trump has always been a pragmatist, a practical guy, because he's a businessman. I think if you're a businessman or a businesswoman in this country, you understand you cannot be an ideologue.
Right.
And that, for me, is the biggest change. We have a guy in here who's willing to work with people and get things done. Do you think that this is going to result in him, however, sacrificing some of the things that made him resonate so completely with people?
No, I don't think so at all. And the American people need to understand, especially the far fringe rights and lefts need to understand, like, look, you have Obamacare. Prime example. You can't just day one say, done, and dump 15 million people off of a health insurance plan that, you know, previously had them, got lost because, look, Obamacare was designed to not be unimplemented by design because they didn't want someone to come in and repeal it.
Right.
And so they've made it exponentially more difficult. Now, it's going to hurt the American people if you just cut it right now. So Donald Trump is finding a way. Believe me, it will be repealed, it will be replaced, but it's going to be done at a way that is humane so people can get on other plans. We broke it, we bought it. So there's going to be parts that have to be subsidized.
Well, no, and that was going to happen no matter what. If Mrs. Clinton, if Secretary Clinton had won, she was going to have to do that too, because the truth is it was a badly designed plan, a badly designed system.
It was designed to perpetuate itself.
Well, it was going bankrupt. 17 of the exchanges, 17 of the 23 exchanges had gone bankrupt by July.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were going to, and after July, Bloomberg had published a report said another 650,000 are going to lose their health care coverage because insurance companies are dropping out of this. So it has to be tackled. On the issue of immigration, he came out and sounded like a reasonable guy last night. He said, look, we're going to secure the border and we're going to get rid of these criminal aliens and we're going to make sure they do their time and leave.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I watched another network and they said, oh, he's not going to build the wall. I was like, they just asked him the question, are you going to build the wall? He said, yes. And then he said, some places don't need a wall. Some places are good with the fence. You know, that is essentially a barrier. So, like, if you don't need to build a 60-foot high concrete wall and you can do the resources and it's going to have the same effect with the fence, guess what? I want him to build the fence. If he's going to have to build a wall in certain places, which he will, he's going to do it. He's a construction guy. This is easy peasy for him.
Well, and also you understand the military strategy in this. When you build a wall, you don't have to do a complete wall, because once you build a wall, you have planned, in essence, the vulnerabilities of what it is that you're guarding.
Exactly.
So you have a pretty good idea of where people are going to go. Yeah. There are impracticalities. I've been on the border many, many times. There are ranchers down there. Water moves back and forth. They need that water in that land. So I thought it was a pretty reasonable answer. I'm going to get rid of those, the criminals, the ones that we keep hearing about.
And they're prying. They're like, well, what about the law-abiding people? Keep in mind, these people, their first act in this country was to break the law. Okay, so I'm not advocating just kick them all out day one, but figure out a way to make it worth it to America to keep them here if they stay. Don't just give them amnesty.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the protest, because it has bothered me. Okay, it's like for me, it's like grow up. To grow up.
This is a product of every single time you lose, you still get a trophy in America. Remember the protest after Obama got elected? Neither do I, because they didn't happen. We all just went back to work.
I know. Yeah. I haven't had look, for 3 cycles, I haven't had a president, a guy I voted for, a person I voted for, take office. Right. I have not lost well, maybe I have lost my mind, but I haven't been out in the street burning property up. We're going crazy doing that stuff. Yeah. It's like, and you're right.
And 2 people hold up a Donald Trump sign and say white power. You know, and that's what all the media drives on. Look, you have hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of people looting the streets, breaking, destroying property. Where's the media on that?
I don't know. Where is the media on that? I don't understand why we're not getting that more covered in greater detail than we are. We've talked about it on Newsmax. I did a package last week. Over 1 million people have watched it. So maybe Newsmax is doing somebody a service here. But.
And to the protesters out there and to law enforcement especially, look, if you're a law enforcement officer out there, Donald Trump has your back. Enforce rule of law. And that means if people are protesting for or against Donald Trump, I want them to enforce the law against either.
No, I agree. It's funny, in this particular case, I kind of admire the restraint of letting the children have their tantrum, if you will. But, you know, if it keeps going on, I can't see any justification for them not arresting people and putting an end to it a lot. Carl, it's always great to see you. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Part of a winning campaign. Yeah. Very good. All right, considering how many pollsters were not quite on their game in terms of the forecast of the election. Will there be a change in how the public is polled moving forward? We'll discuss that with John Zogby next. Don't go away.